used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will
Yeah, bro. Okay. Put the National Guard on the side of the protesters and arrest the ICE officers. Okay. I mean, they can't, the National Guard can't do a detention like that, but you know, get local law enforcement to arrest the ICE officers. Takes time.
About Minnesota, that's been pretty
You are
evident,
delusional to
but we love
think.
this.
You are delusional to think that we do not have the numbers in the situation. You have to trust in your fellow neighbors and your fellow Americans. You have to believe that they too can see right. If you give up on them with the notion that they will never understand, if you give up on the prospect of educating them, then it's over. You might as well lean over and have the government roll over you. What's the alternative? You lay down and wait for your inevitable demise? It's ridiculous. Every day there are new people that are regretting voting for Donald Trump. And you're over here thinking, oh, this is unsalvageable, because you hyper-focus on shit that you see on the internet. You hyper-focus on people like Asmongold. You hyper-focus on their communities. You hyper-focus on Elon Musk. You hyper-focus on Twitter. And I play a role in this as well, because I show you what the right-wingers are thinking. And it causes you to feel like it's just overwhelmingly right-wing, okay? But the reason why I show you this stuff and the reason why I try to tackle these talking points specifically is so that I give you the tools to also combat this talking point in your own lives, okay? In the real world. That's the reason why I show you this shit. I don't show you this shit so you feel, oh man, there's nothing we can do. Every single person is lost. Every single person is a lost cause. Might as well not fight. Might as well just roll over and die. What are you talking about? We have the numbers, okay? The overwhelming majority of Americans look at the situation and recognize right from wrong. I promise you. And plenty who don't actually have the capacity to empathize and understand if you talk to them like human beings. This kind of stuff doesn't change overnight. It's not magically changing. You have to be the change you want to see, okay? You have to make it happen. You can't just like sit idly by and hope that, you know, cooler minds will prevail. There's a mental plague that we are isolated against this evil right-wing majority, when the reality is many in America are afraid to oppose these actions, and more who stand up. And the more who stand up, the safer it becomes to do, chat. Exactly. This is something that I've tried to describe to people as a microcosm in our little corner of the internet, okay? I know that there are a lot of normies who are tuning in today because this is a situation that they want to learn about, so maybe they don't understand the Twitch dynamic. But this is precisely what I've talked about for the Twitch watchers, for the YouTube watchers, for the people who are extremely online. This is precisely why I kept urging others to speak out, okay? Over and over again for the past 2 years on the genocide in Gaza, and urging others to speak out against right-wing figures that were justifying Trump's actions. And a lot of people who saw that this kind of stuff was up, a lot of people, for example, who think what Asmongold is saying is like completely ridiculous, okay, very violent and unacceptable, did not say anything. And the reason why they didn't say anything was because they were terrified, okay? They were terrified of getting bullied. They were terrified of being cyberstalked. They were terrified in general. But the reason why I tried to urge others to also speak out was because there are more of us than there are of them, okay? The reason why they feel emboldened is because Trump and Elon Musk and numerous other right-wing figures have basically created this media environment, especially on the internet, where they have made people feel falsely, they've made people feel like they are dominating the discourse. The only reason why they are dominating the discourse on the internet is because people are too afraid to speak out against it. People are too afraid to call it out. People are too afraid to say, what the f are you saying? This is completely ridiculous. Okay? That's it. And for far too long, for the past couple of years, a lot of people that felt emboldened to speak out and say that they're, you know, pro-Black Lives Matter, against police brutality when we were in the peak woke environment, have actually stopped talking about this stuff because they're too afraid of their own audiences turning on them. They're too afraid of people bullying them. They're too afraid of people yelling at them. But someone has to do it, okay? Someone has to embolden others to give them the courage to also do it as well. And slowly but surely, things are changing. This is why a lot of you are also recognizing that, you know, woke 2 is coming back, right? But you have to play a role in making sure that other people also feel confident enough to speak out against those who are justifying these sorts of ridiculous, violent actions. Okay? Someone's got to do it. You have to be that someone so that you give confidence to others as well. Because at the end of the day, when every single person that recognizes right from wrong comes out and speaks out against these atrocities, you will truly realize that we do have the numbers, not them. Okay? People think that progress is inevitable. People think that the slant of history always aligns with justice, but you never get there unless there are willing participants who will push it there. People who fight back no matter what. People who have moral convictions. People who don't stop resisting. You have to be a part of this.
An ICE officer shot and killed someone in Minneapolis. My deepest condolences to the family, to the loved ones who had to learn about this tragic event on national television. We have been warning for weeks that the Trump administrationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt. Just yesterday, I said exactly that. What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict. It's governing by reality TV. And today that recklessness cost someone their life. I've reached out to Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and I'm waiting to hear back. Let me be clear. Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident. But we love this state. We won't let them tear us apart. We'll not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this. I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully, as you always do. We can't give them what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on our side. To Americans, I ask you this. Please stand with Minneapolis. To Minnesotans, know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center. State Patrol and Minnesota National Guard leadership is connected with the Minneapolis Police Department, the St. Paul Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the DNR, and Minnesota's Homeland Security and Emergency Management. We have activated dozens of members of the State Patrol's mobile response team. And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community. They're business owners. They're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will.
Yeah, bro. Okay. Put the National Guard on the side of the protesters and arrest the ICE officers. Okay. I mean, they can't, the National Guard can't do a detention like that, but, you know, get local law enforcement to arrest the ICE officers. Create a constitutional panic, you know, put your pussy on the line for once. God damn.
Continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information. Now I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Bob Jacobson of the Minnesota Department of Public Safety.
Because it feels like you're deploying the National Guard specifically against the protesters who are for understandable reasons.
Service.
Create a constitutional crisis. Air it out. Let your nuts hang. Big dog, come on now.
As the Commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Public Safety. First of all, I want to acknowledge the reason that we are all here.
Yeah, show them your weed is louder than theirs. Show them your bitches are badder than theirs. Let your nuts hang, big dog. What are we doing?
The loss of life is not anything anyone would ever want. We fully expect that the community will want to peacefully demonstrate their anger or frustration. Minnesota residents and visitors have the right to peacefully demonstrate. We recognize that demonstrations are often...
That's so funny. CBS News in real time showing cops just rising. And those are, the green ones are Homeland Security. So I assume this is DHS. These are federal law enforcement just bare bear spraying, macing the out of people, direct contact.
Driven by strong emotions, beliefs, and certainly a desire to be heard. Our role is to help ensure everyone can express themselves
It's not like you got a re-election to lose, just do
without
it.
anyone getting hurt. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety's role through the Minnesota State Patrol is to ensure safety.
If you were the woman, would you have stopped and gotten out, steamroll an officer and go about your merry way? I would have tried to get out of the road like she was doing. Get out of the way of the cops. Yeah, that's what I would have done. I like that you are still trying to justify this, though. Respect, Krabby Patty Crabs. You fucking boot-licking cuck. One day it's going to be your mother in a similar situation, okay? So you'll come in here and only then will you realize, like, maybe it was a little fucked up. Right now, you imagine yourself in the shoes of the powerful ICE agent. One day, you will see the truth. We are trying to stop that from happening. We are trying to make sure that people understand that this is unacceptable. Make sure the administration understands that this is unacceptable so that your loved ones are not in a similar predicament, okay? Because if it was your mother who was driving that car, I doubt that you would have this kind of energy. I doubt you'd be like, oh, Dad, why didn't you just get out of the fucking car? Bruh, I'm just asking a question. Bitch, we know what kind of fucking question you're asking. You ain't slick. Deep-throating the fucking boot. Come on. Oh, I was just asking a question. Why are you being mean?
Protect
Dumbass.
constitutional rights, keep roads accessible, and above all, to prevent harm. Our top priority.
I was just asking a question in fucking broad day. I was asking a question that made it seem as though, once again, made it seem as though this was a justifiable, totally legal kill in the hands of an unaccountable ICE force, okay? No, I'm just asking a question. No, you weren't. You were adding intent, okay?
Is public safety. Our focus is keeping demonstrators, community members, drivers, and law enforcement safe, especially during moments of heightened tension or uncertainty. Demonstrations must remain safe and lawful, particularly around roadways. We will join with our partners to support safety.
Americans do love thinking that they are, they're descendants of people who really stuck it to the fucking British monarchy and shit. And I'm not kidding when I say this, like, the most cucked country, I think. Like, straight up peasant mentality, straight up serf mentality. Some of the most servile people I have ever fucking encountered in my life. The only time where they actually behave like they're fucking powerful is when they're fantasizing about the American government or the American military doing force projections overseas against heads of state in countries that we have economically fucking dominated, okay? The only time where they actually feel powerful is when they're actually punching someone who's down. That's it. You are not a powerful country, okay? You are not a powerful people if you actually find yourself defending members of the federal law enforcement when they're murdering your fucking neighbors, when they're murdering civilians in broad fucking daylight. That's not powerful, dude. You are servile, okay?
And there'll be more videos. We're in a world with lots of videos, which is a good
Oh,
thing
yeah, there's going to be more videos. Oh, this is so many videos.
for getting to the truth.
Let's look at this live shot that we're seeing right now. We just saw some black vehicle vans moving their way through, and now you see snowballs flying in this group.
I don't know if you've seen the video, but this part corroborates the witness account that the woman was, I know. The woman was trying to do a U-turn before the Gestapo tried to immediately open her car door. I know. The first couple of seconds in this video show that, like, she is waving them off and trying to get out of the way. And then another pickup truck comes in, rolls in, unmarked pickup, by the way, with fucking cop lights on. They get out and immediately try to pull her out of the car. Tired of being politically correct. Another angle. Veteran. I love the USA. X is the only place to get real news. I repost interesting things. Yeah. Again, this is what I mean. These are like the so-called libertarians, like the people who hate like unjustifiable actions made by the state. They think tyranny is only when, like, the government says, hey, in order to make sure that you survive, we have to vaccinate you and your children. That's what they think is fucking tyrannical. Not this shit. Not real tyranny. Not real, unchecked, unjustifiable, unlawful actions in the hands of a militarized state that gets to fucking kill you and your neighbors and not even seek out an ounce of accountability. It's so funny that Donald Trump is also lying, that saying that the guy was injured and hospitalized when you literally see him walking around, when you see the fucking car doing nothing to the person.
Of individuals that are moving. You've got law enforcement in the front of this group that look like they're walking backwards, so they're being pushed, is the way it looks, backwards by protesters who are throwing snowballs at them right now. Let's bring in Victor Avila. Let's stay on this live shot as we bring in Victor, retired ICE special agent, now assistant director for the Office of National Drug Control Policy in the administration.
That's the thing, like, they can't get all of us, okay? I mean, it sounds crazy to say it like this, but like, when you have overwhelming numbers, it becomes impossible, okay? That's it. You have overwhelming numbers, it becomes impossible for the state to enforce its will, okay? So at that point, they have to back away. They have to stand down, they have to reconfigure, they have to listen to the demands being made by the public, because these are the fucking taxpayers, okay? These are you, okay? These are people just like yourselves.
Victor, thank you for being here. I don't know, can you see what we're seeing live on screen right now? Are you able to or not?
Yes, I could see it, Martha.
And there'll be more.
I cannot believe Donald Trump tried to be like, oh, this person was hospitalized.
Do everything possible to get to the bottom of this.
All right, we saw Jacob Fry's.
If you would, give me your name and kind of look over this way instead of at the phone.
Sure. My name is Aiden Perzana.
Can you spell those for me?
Yeah, AIDANPER, Z is in zebra, ANA.
Okay. So just tell me in general, I mean, what did you see out here this morning?
Well, I have a 1 month at home, so I was just getting up. He had woken me up, and was getting dressed when I heard all of the horns and.
CNN, this is a live feed that we're getting an aerial view of law enforcement. They've removed that perimeter where they were investigating the
really
scene.
Trailing these law enforcement vehicles and throwing, again, snowballs and chunks of ice at these vehicles, Boris.
Oh God, CNN is so cop-cucked. It's crazy.
And we're continuing to.
They are not there to do real fucking journalism. They're there to do state propaganda. Okay, I'm sorry. There are some in mainstream news that will actually report from the perspective of the average citizen, but CNN clearly is not one of them. There are some at even CNN who do that, but these reporters that are immediately on the scene are not doing that at all. They're just simply looking at this from the perspective of like law enforcement, from the perspective of the government. They are there to normalize the state violence. They are there to justify the state violence.
Watch this. This is a live feed that we are getting an aerial.
Like even the fact that they openly see that the local population is understandably furious that one of their neighbors was just executed and they're throwing snowballs at the cops. They go, oh, well, they're throwing ice. It's dangerous. What if the snowballs are packed with cement? What if a cop dies in this situation by getting struck in the head with a snowball? Here, let's look at what fucking Fox News is saying, which is not going to be that dissimilar to what CNN is saying, obviously. They're probably fucking screaming bloody murder on Fox News as well.
That second one harder to see. It's from across the street. We have a third
Why is it
video
hard? The second one is harder to see that Donald Trump was using as propaganda.
Look at this one from a higher angle. And you see this is the car after the shooting as it plows into two cars that were parked on the street there. Carrie, your thoughts on these videos and on what you just heard? We've got just 20 seconds left.
What we don't have video of, Martha, and it's very important, is what happened right before that. And context and circumstances matter because that's what's going to matter in the court of law. These situations are always very fact-specific, and it boils down to the perspective of the
course. And we can take a look at these and analyze.
Great Satan. The truth comes out. It's Satan. They're satanic, ladies and gentlemen.
After an ICE-involved shooting.
Real
These
voice.
are live
I
pictures.
smell the sulfur through the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, Fox News is controlled by demonic entities.
Showing what happened earlier today between protesters and ICE. We're working on bringing you those videos. You can see one of them on your screen as we speak. Basically, Here's what it describes. It shows agents in a truck pulling up to a car that appears to be blocking the road. The two agents get out. They walk up to the driver's side of the car. From there, things escalate quickly. One agent touches the car, and the driver starts driving backwards with the agent's hand still on the car. The driver then hits the gas while another agent appears to be standing in front of the vehicle. That agent, more in front of the car, appears to open fire as the car barrels towards him. DHS...
Bro, they can't even defend it. Touches the car. Remember this same playbook? Later on, the DOJ dropped the charges. Yeah. The way Noam describes this is so eerily similar to the Department of Homeland Security. The way the Department of Homeland Security described Miramar Martinez in Chicago. Back then, Martinez was labeled a domestic terrorist who ambushed Border Patrol and rammed their vehicle. She was also shot, though she survived. The DOJ later dropped the charges against her. They do this every single fucking time. Okay? Remember, they did this. And the video there, they said the exact same thing in the video there. They were like, oh, this is actually a terrorist. This is a domestic terrorist that was trying to hunt down ICE agents. They shot her. Luckily, she didn't get killed. She survived the incident. And they dropped the fucking charges. But the reason why they come out of the gate swinging with these fucking charges is because there are a lot of dumb dullards out there who want any sort of justification for this kind of fucking unjustifiable death and destruction, as long as it's their state doing it, as long as it's their regime doing it, okay? So because nobody actually follows up on this shit, it doesn't really matter when they drop the charges later down the line. It's no different than the Maduro case where they were like, oh, he's a part of the cartel of the sun, right? They went in with that narrative over and over again for months. Cartel of the sun, cartel of the sun. I kept telling you there's no evidence for this whatsoever. And lo and behold, a day after Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio went on television and was talking about cartel of the sun. A day after that, the Department of the DEA and the DOJ dropped the fucking charges and basically removed Cartel of the Sun from their indictment. They tried to do it quietly. Why did they do that? Because they knew that there was no evidence for it. But it doesn't matter. The reason why it doesn't matter is because, unfortunately, we do not have consensus reality anymore. What matters is narrative. Narrative overcomes truth, as I say over and over again. And in a dangerous disinformation environment such as this one, the media has a lot of fucking opportunities to really change the discourse, okay? Especially when there are still plenty of people, especially boomers, who trust mainstream media, who actually trust the administration in general. They have not realized that the administration is openly and actively lying to them, okay? The administration is using this as an opportunity. Is this not literally the stated reason for a Second Amendment's existence, to protect from a tyrannical government? Yes, but all the Second Amendment enjoyers actually love using their guns on fucking random people that have no power and justify state violence in general. Things are finally changing, though. I will say, at least in our little corner of the fucking internet, at least in our little corner of the universe, all these people who spent most of their time fucking defending Israel and attacking people like myself are finally coming to terms with the reality that Asmongold is a dangerous right-wing propagandist, and they're finally fucking putting Asmongold in the crosshairs rather than actively fomenting hatred towards someone like myself for doing so for the past 2 fucking years. It will change eventually. People will, all the centrists, all the liberals, all the slop tubers that have spent all of their fucking time and effort attacking someone like myself for criticizing Asmongold will finally fucking turn around and realize that, you know, this is an indefensible incident. You'll see. You'll see. It's always the same. One day, everyone will have always been against this, okay? It's wild. People didn't know he was bad. The reason why people didn't know he was bad is because, like I said earlier, a lot of the fucking slop tubers get their notes from Reddit. They're Reddit plagiarizers, okay? I said it yesterday. They're a lot of the centrists, a lot of the liberals, they only fucking cover the news from the perspective of drama. They have no interest in covering it from an ideological position. They have no interest in covering things from a policy perspective. It's much easier to just like farm outrage and just like reassert Reddit talking points that they found over and over again. And Reddit is endlessly fucking bottable. It's very clearly easy to manipulate. Twitter, if all your talking points are coming from Twitter and Reddit is just the stomping ground of Atlanticist Natsec liberalism that is inherently right-wing but masquerades as like liberal, okay? And Twitter is obviously fucking neo-Nazi, full tilt, unvarnished neo-Nazi propaganda, and that's all you see. Your centrism is going to be out of whack with what the actual people are seeing, what the actual people are experiencing. In any case, slowly but surely, as the tide shift becomes glaringly obvious, those who are hanging on to this like weird centrism because they're deluded by what they see on Reddit, they're deluded by what they see as like the primary villain on Twitter, will slowly but surely make up their own fucking minds. And it's coming. That's why I keep saying it's going to happen. It's wise to withhold judgment on the shooting until the facts are clear, but I have to say I'm grateful for modern technology. It makes it much harder for the government officials to get away with lying, and government really, really likes to lie. This is Billy Binion from Reason. Reason is one of the only libertarian magazines that's still anti-police violence. One of the only libertarian like bastions that actively targets police violence and is also pro-immigration. Says, I think a lot of people really underestimate how common it is for government agencies to tell the public total distortions after a tragedy and or controversy. And until very recently, before tech was so ubiquitous, society just kind of had to accept their word at face value. Now I'm going to actually take a sidestep here and explain to you something for a minute and 38 seconds. Okay? I'm going to show you something, a story that Barack Obama participated in, a story that you will be very familiar with, and the actions of a government that you are seeing take place on domestic soil.
Happened on October 3rd, 2015. On that day, an American military gunship attacked a hospital in This was not a military base. It was a trauma center run by the famous aid group Doctors Without Borders. For about 30 minutes, the aircraft circled overhead, firing repeatedly and precisely at the hospital buildings. The gunship fired 211 shells in total. Inside, the scene was a nightmare. Some patients burned alive in their beds because they could not move. Doctors lost their limbs or were decapitated by shrapnel while trying to operate. As people tried to run from the burning buildings to escape, they were shot from the air. By the time the attack ended, at least 42 people were dead, including doctors, nurses, and patients. The hospital had given its exact GPS coordinates to the US military just days before, specifically to prevent something like this from happening. Even while the bombs were falling, hospital staff were frantically calling military officials, begging them to stop, but the strikes continued. After the attack, the American explanation changed several times. First, officials said they were protecting troops on the ground. Then, they claimed the Afghan army had asked for the strike. Finally, the U.S. command...
Wait a minute. Oh, the official narrative was after blowing up a hospital for 30 minutes, a hospital that was Doctors Without Borders hospital that had European doctors inside of it. The official narrative in the immediate aftermath of this story, under Obama, by the way, was... Oh, well, this was actually a military compound.
Commander admitted it was a specific decision made by American forces, but called it a tragic mistake caused by human error and broken equipment. Some officials tried to claim that Taliban fighters were hiding in the hospital, using civilians as human shields. Doctors Without...
Remember that? Taliban was inside of the hospital, using the hospital as a human shield, using the patients as a human shield.
Borders flatly denied this, explaining that they had a strict no weapons policy and that the compound was full of doctors and patients.
The point is, it's not an Israel reference. America's been doing this, okay? I know it's harder for people to swallow this truth pill, okay? That's the real truth. The real truth nuke is that this is what America has always done, okay? This is what America's been doing. It's easier for people to comprehend that someone is doing this. It's easier for people to comprehend that this is fucked up and common practice when you point to Israel. And Israel does do it more frequently than America does, let's be real. Okay? And they do it in a worse way than America does. But the reality of the matter is we do it too. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because we've done it overseas and we're currently doing it on domestic soil. You understand? That's the reason why I'm showing you this.
Soldiers. In the end, President Obama apologized, and the military punished 16 people with administrative discipline, but no one was ever charged with a crime. The Pentagon concluded that because it was an accident, it was not a war crime. The doctors and the United Nations called for an independent investigation, arguing that a military cannot fairly investigate its own actions, but that investigation never happened. Mahmoudiyya killings.
Okay? I mean, we'll get to the rest of these massacres later, but this is a video called The Pain Explainer, Every Major U.S. War Crime in 20 Minutes. Okay? The reason why I'm showing you that is because that is precisely what Kirsty Noem said instantly. First statement out of the gates is, oh, well, this person deserved it. They were a terrorist. They were doing domestic terrorism. The difference, of course, is that this is not happening in Afghanistan. This is happening in your backyard. And no matter how much Americans can justify this kind of state violence when it's directed towards faceless, lifeless, otherwise brown people, they can actually humanize the victim in this circumstance because this looks like your suburb. This looks like your neighborhood. The person is driving a car similar to the car that your mother drives. It's a Honda Pilot with fucking decals and stickers in the back. Okay? The 37-year-old victim in this situation is someone you can see, that someone you can identify as a person in your neighborhood. Okay? So when the admin tries to bring the imperialism to your fucking doorstep, and that's basically what fascism is. It's colonialism turned inwards, okay? People do understand that this is unacceptable and fucked up. Now, there will always be those who defend it. There will always be those who defend it, like these fucking demons on Fox News. But that doesn't mean you should stop protesting it.
To get in the way, to obstruct law enforcement doing its job, and that never ends well for anyone.
Yeah, I have a lot more to say about the politicians in Minnesota coming up a little bit later. And let's leave behind the legal analysis. That, too, we will return to in just a moment. Because what's happening right now, Jack, to your and kin point, is there is a trial that has already begun in the court of public opinion. When these types of situations occur, reaction is almost immediate with everyone's...
Brother, there was a trial that took place with Laken Riley, but that didn't stop the Republican movement from utilizing that as a point of propaganda to give overwhelming power and lack of accountability to fucking Bortak, okay? This is the SWAT team for ICE, chatters. They are not supposed to be there. You understand? Bortak is not equipped to do crowd control at all. Bortak is the Border Patrol's tactical team, okay? That's Border Patrol's, that's ICE's very own SWAT team. The fact that they're on the ground over there is insane. It's disgusting that these monsters are so predisposed. These monsters are so predisposed with defending the fucking regime. And there are many monsters not dissimilar to the likes of Will Kane in our communities as well. Okay? There are monstrous scumbags who are doing state propaganda right now, like Asmongold and like many other right-wingers. Okay? They're so fucking... Their primary goal here is to justify whatever the fuck the Trump administration is doing. So much so that they lose sight of their own humanity. They lose sight of what is right and wrong. They can't even take a step. They can't even take a fucking breather. Take a step back and go, yeah, this is actually kind of fucked up. You know, I'll say it. They have to wait for the overwhelming majority to yell at them, to finally come to terms with the reality here, that this was just straight up murder.
Understand the difference between what we've seen from Trump administration officials and what we have typically seen in the past.
And you're right. You often do have mayors and governors come out and give statements and potentially give political statements. And the Justice Department and the federal government have a responsibility to make sure they get all of the facts before coming out and making conclusions. And what happened with Kristi Noem is what should have happened if she were a responsible DHS secretary. If she should have called for an investigation.
What are you saying? That's never going to happen. You know that that's a different reality. You are living in an alternative reality. You're making it seem like this is a normal administration. This is what she's done every single time ICE has actually shot someone. They automatically say it's domestic terrorism and it was totally warranted. That's their number one statement right out of the fucking gates. They come out swinging. What the fuck are we doing? You know that that's not what they've done. Just say it. Just say it out loud. Just say that that is not what this administration is doing. They haven't done this ever. And it's very clear that it's because they want to foment discontent so they can justify even more aggressive persecution. So they can justify fucking martial law.
Amy Ested, briefly, I mean, the reality of this is that it is an explosively difficult situation that is going to explode our politics, most likely.
Right, no question. And I spoke to some law enforcement officials who made this point. I'm just going to read what the person said. Have the rules of engagement and the ICE raid tactics led to more violence? They look at this and they say, this is not the way these things were carried out before the Trump administration.
Yeah, I think that context is important. Over the last couple months, there's been an intentional effort to ramp up these deportations. We have seen Stephen Miller make kind of projections about what he wants, 1,000 a day in terms of apprehensions. I think that kind of chaos has created a tinderbox that has, unfortunately led to some of the scenes that I think we see today. And I think that chaos is a logical result of that mass deployment of federal agents.
All right, and we are just learning that the Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, is expected to go to Minneapolis Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, after this ICE-involved shooting. All right, our breaking news coverage is going to continue throughout the hour on this story. We've got two senators with us today, Republican John Kennedy, Democrat Mark Kelly.
Oh, God, John Kennedy. Yeah, Kristi Noem, the dog murderer, by the way.
Use it politically. They don't care about the people involved. They don't care about the ICE officer getting home to his family tonight. They don't care about the citizen who was tragically killed because of her own poor decision making, frankly. They don't care about those people. They care about school.
Dude, I think we need to be, I think liberals need to be, not even we, because we are obviously giving the smoke that is necessary in this situation. But I think liberals in general need to be way more ruthless. Liberals in mainstream media need to be way more ruthless. Like this, what they are doing, this kind of commentary is so insane. Like they're victim blaming when the body has not even the body hasn't even gotten cold yet. And they're already going, oh, nobody actually cares about the slain person at all. They're just trying to, propagandize against our big, beautiful members of law enforcement. Like, they're so fucking shameless and evil. Liberals need to be more aggressive in their commentary. Okay? You need to actually meet this with the same level of intensity that it deserves. So basically they're treating a white, that's what it is. It's getting to that point. And I think every black person already knows it was inevitably going to get to that point. That's precisely what's happening. It's crazy. Look, man, if right-wingers are justifying a white woman getting killed like this, it's over. You know what I mean? It's just like this is a new environment.
Some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite.
That is not leadership. That is sedition. It's encouraging people to interfere with the lawful actions of the state. And when a mayor uses his office to delegitimize federal law enforcement in the immediate aftermath of a deadly incident, it's not protecting his city. He's putting people in danger.
They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets. And in this case, quite literally killing people. So they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense.
This right here is not a partisan thing, man. Okay, I don't know how to explain it to people. I know there's a lot of people in here. I'm sure there's Asmongold fans in here who are a little confused today because they are seeing Asmongold justify fucking straight up murder, and they're tuning into this broadcast instead to see an alternative perspective that they might not have gotten in the past. This is not about right versus left. Okay, this is about right versus wrong. Okay, this is about the government versus the people. Okay, I need you to understand this. This is not about partisanship. It is not about partisanship. Propagandists in the media will try to turn this into a partisan issue. This is not a partisan issue. You, regardless of who you voted for, what your perspective is, what you personally believe, have the capacity to look at a situation like this and recognize right from wrong. I believe in you. Okay? And if you recognize right from wrong in this circumstance, you should also protest against ICE. You should also protest against this kind of fucking unlawful murder happening in broad fucking daylight. It doesn't matter who you voted for. It doesn't matter what you believe prior to this moment. You have the capacity to see right from wrong. I believe in you. Okay? It is completely unacceptable. And these people recognize right from wrong, and they're taking it to the fucking streets and say, get the fuck out of here. You don't belong here. You need to leave our streets. You need to stop terrorizing us. And they are getting brutalized for that. They're getting brutalized for that, even though they are in the wrong. These guys, Bortak is in the wrong. Why the fuck is there a special weapons and tactics team for ICE operating in fucking Minneapolis? The reality of the matter is, the very fact that they were deployed here was not to actually prosecute fraud. I hope you understand this, because the fraud has been prosecuted already. Investigations are being conducted already. And even if every single Somali in Minneapolis was doing fraud, you don't use ICE to prosecute them. You don't use ICE to apprehend them. You want to know why? Because all the fucking Somalis in Minneapolis are American citizens, or at least documented immigrants. This is not like Guatemalan migrants. This is not the same as like talking about Venezuelans on TPS. Somalia is very far away. You can't just come from Somalia to the United States of America and immigrate illegally, okay? I'm going to repeat this one more time, whether people want to recognize this or not. 90% of Somalis in Minneapolis and 90% of Somalis on U.S. soil are Americans, okay? They are American citizens. They are American citizens, okay? 60% of them are U.S.-born, native American citizens, like native-born citizens, okay? They were born on U.S. soil. Not native, sorry. Natural. If you want the 40-plus suburb Facebook replies to the video, notice how no other agent had a gun drawn, turned into an argument about if it was self-defense. He also put the officer at the door in danger. What if the bullet ricocheted, or if he suddenly leaned into the vehicle? So far, people don't trust the official narrative on old social media. Yeah, I mean, it's such a glaringly obvious example of just like the type of violence that these guys normally justify overseas happening to a white woman in a fucking Honda Pilot that is 37 years old. Like, this is, in this circumstance, I know people will say, oh, you don't give a black teenager being on the receiving end of this kind of state violence. And unfortunately for many Americans, they don't see it, okay? They don't see it if it's overseas. They don't recognize it as evil if it's happening to someone who is like easily otherized or dehumanized. But they do absolutely see it in this circumstance, because it is someone that is their neighbor. It is someone that is a loved one. They can put themselves in the shoes of this person. Okay? That's why I think this could potentially be a turning point for many Americans who maybe have looked away at ICE brutality up until this very moment.
Well, I'll tell you what, Will, the reason that I have to do this live shot from here instead of within the actual area where their confrontation's taking place right now.
It is the full-blown Israelification of the United States.
And it's very
They're literally doing but Hamas, dude. They're doing but Hamas. They're saying it's a domestic terrorist. It's crazy. Yeah, the single bullet hole is to the far side as well. Photo of the vehicle is also damning for the ICE agent. The single bullet hole is to the far side, appears to be curved part of the windshield. If the agent was in front of the vehicle, this angle would not have hit her in the head. Also, where did the two other rounds enter? From the side with the open window. The reason why they're doing this, the reason why that guy did this is because he's a fucking asshole. Okay? He's an asshole who knows that he could, or we'll see how it works. We'll see how this situation turns out, but he thinks he can get away with murder. We cannot let that happen. Okay? A power-hungry murderer. Asman is saying guys standing in front of a cop car should be put in a box and round up about 10,000 protesters and put them in a camp to shut it down quick, literally promoting authoritarian dictatorship. He's just a weak, ineffective, cowardly person who's trying to lean into the administration, the government's fucking repressive methods to make himself and others who are tuning in feel powerful. Okay? That's it. That's it. This is commentary from a deeply insecure, deeply scared person. It's weak, it's cowardly, it's frail. This is the motivating principle of fucking Nazis as well, historically. Feeling like they've been wronged by society and hoping that the state actually enacts some violence to others who are their ideological opponents. Not realizing, once again, that this is not a partisan issue. ICE just shot and killed a woman in Minneapolis, a U.S. citizen. How long before we say enough is enough? Elon Musk, she tried to run people over. No, she didn't. And here's the evidence. She's turning the front wheels of her car to the right, away from the ICE officer on her left. If she was trying to run him over, why would she turn in the other direction? There is no response to this. They cannot fucking respond to this. They can't respond to that. They can't respond to the fact that the bullet hole entered to the fucking side of the windshield, the first bullet. They can't. because they don't care about the truth. They just want to justify whatever kind of fucking violence that like these MAGA thugs are engaging in, because they want to make this a partisan issue. This is not a partisan issue, chat. It's not. This is not an issue about right versus left. This is an issue with right versus wrong. You need to understand that. That's it. Yeah. It's a good exercise in ideology to see which people will watch the video and then let Trump decide for them what they saw. That's it. We will see. We will see if people have the capacity to see a broad daylight murder, an assassination, or they let Trump do their thinking for them. And I think that there will be some people who will let Trump do their thinking for us, who watch the video and try to justify it. But I think most people will look at the situation, like most Trump supporters will look at the situation with a totally biased framework and justify it, even though Trump is fucking straight up lying about a thing that they can see with their own two eyes. We shall see. Is propaganda and ideological predisposition more powerful than what you can fucking see and comprehend with your own two eyes? There's another angle that shows a bullet hole in the front of the windshield. It's not. Also, you can literally see. You can see that not only was this dude not even remotely injured, for the record. I mean, this is, look. I mean, right there. He's right there. That's the guy who shot the person and killed the person. Do content creators like Asmongold genuinely believe she was trying to run them over? Is that just part of the grift? No, it's part of the grift. It's 100% part of the grift. Wow, I can't believe. Yeah, how did he survive? How did he survive this cold-blooded execution that he engaged in? Recovering in the hospital. Hasan, inform the grand names that it's super expensive to immigrate here. It cost my family $40,000, 2.5 million swaga pesos to move here due to medical, legal, and paperwork fees. Africans, East and West Asians who immigrate to America are business owners and actually educated people compared to the cockroach streamers and watchers. Yeah, I mean, that people never realize that, but like, yeah. The poorer the country of origin is, the more likely the person that is coming to the United States of America is like very wealthy and very educated as well. America makes it unimaginably difficult to immigrate here, especially from a place like Nigeria or Somalia. Yeah. It's hard to believe he's alive, but he's now recovering in the hospital. He was walking around at the fucking crime scene. Are you kidding me? I'm going to quote retweet that with this photo. Remotely harmed. The 37-year-old Honda pilot. Will MAGA loyalists unconditionally believe Trump lies over what they can see in the footage? Another filtering moment. Sorry. I'm tweeting. Frenchman here, just checking what we might be dealing with in 2 years. Hope y'all don't stay fucked for too long. We are fucked. If the victim was a white cop and the shooter was a black Somali, Asmongold would not be giving him this self-defense plausible deniability bullshit. Yeah, 100%. Because it's a totally fucking racist. Here it is, by the way. This is the piece of shit that killed that 37-year-old U.S. citizen in Minnesota. This is him walking to a vehicle and leaving the fucking crime scene after he took a life, like it was just a notch on his belt.
You! Shame! 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 What's happening to her? What happened?
The fact that they also wear masks is so insane, dude. Yes, I've heard reports about how they stopped the doctor from actually going up to the victim and helping the victim. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that verified yet. Oh, wait, never mind. This is from The Atlantic. Okay, so it is real. Okay, a doctor at the scene attempted to help the woman who was shot, but was kept away by federal agents. When an ambulance finally arrived, it was blocked from reaching her by law enforcement vehicles, and paramedics had to reach her on foot. This is literally what they do in the West Bank, chat. This is Israel. This is straight up Israel shit. Oh my God. You can hear it here. Yeah, this video I didn't want to show before because I mean, it's harrowing. It's terrifying because you can hear the person's wife, the victim's wife, like crying in the background with their dog. So I don't want to show it to you. I'm trying to see yeah. ICE did nothing to help the woman who they murdered. Only when MPD and fire got there, they carried the woman's lifeless body to the corner and gave her CPR. That's crazy. They literally had to come in on foot. You can see them carrying the victim and they had to come in on foot. The paramedics had to come in on foot. That video, it shows the doctor trying to help her and later shows the EMT carry her off. What is this nigga? What? Bro, why are you fucking sending me dumbass links like that, man? The fuck is wrong with you? It's loud as hell, too. Oh, I can't fucking, it's so ridiculous.
A year
dude.
ago in Minneapolis,
Fox News is doing full-blown, by the way, unlimited coverage on this from Fox News. I know it was Hood Genius. I know. Shut the fuck up. Fox News is doing full tilt propaganda here, trying to defend this shit for the record.
Interpretation.
Well, it's reasonable. What would be reasonable for someone on the scene in this particular situation? And reasonableness, obviously.
How do we get people to empathize again? Easy. It's going to happen eventually. More and more people are getting pissed off every single day. More and more people start recognizing right from wrong every single day. The more people actually lean away from naysayers, lean away from those who are just like very clearly regime propagandists, the more there is an environment of permission about expressing discontent, the more people will feel bold enough to come out and speak out against this stuff. Okay? That's it. It's already happening. In the small corner that we exist in online, it's already happening. Someone in the chat was asking like, oh, when will Asmongold like change his perspective instead of like unconditionally defending this shit? I'll tell you when. The day that, bought it or not, the day that there are more people in here watching me than watching him is the day that he'll actually reconsider his framework and will start leaning away from the Trump administration. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's coming. You'll see. That's the day he will come in and say, hey, I'm willing to debate. I'm willing to have a conversation about this sort of stuff. So numbers mean more to him than a person being killed? Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. That's why his audience constantly is projecting, saying, oh, I bet Hasan's real mad right now. Yeah, I am mad. Not about what you think I am mad about, though. I'm mad about a fucking unaccountable administration. I'm mad about unlimited bloodshed, doing bloodshed overseas and doing very similar styles of bloodshed here on U.S. soil against American citizens, against undocumented migrants, documented migrants, and also American citizens. That's it. That's what I'm fucking mad about. Not some other dumb, like, drama-related shit that you think I'm mad about. I'm also mad that there is an environment now that where people just get away with saying whatever the fuck they think they can get away with. They get away with saying whatever they want as long as it's in the direction of defending this administration, as this administration increases its cruel actions. Okay? That's what I'm actually fucking mad about. This morning, an ICE agent murdered a woman in Minneapolis. Only the latest horror in a year full of cruelty as ICE attacks our neighbors across America is an attack on us all. New York stands with immigrants today and every day that follows. Why did the ICE vid get taken down? I don't know which video you're talking about, but here's a witness basically describing what was taking place there here.
This morning.
Basically, ladies trying to warn everyone ICE is in the neighborhood.
Look. Oh, there it is. ICE officers trained never to approach a vehicle from the front, DHS official says. Slowly but surely. First they come out and they say it was totally justified. This was domestic terrorists. Then they'll say, okay, maybe this ICE agent wasn't following the proper fucking code of conduct here.
Just letting them know, hey, and telling ICE, hey, you're destroying families, whatnot. Stop doing this. Hey, get out of here. Stop that. She reversed so traffic can go by. A pickup truck, gray pickup truck. Officer ICE got out and was telling her, hey, well, didn't tell her anything, really. Just telling her what, I'm going to open up your door and I'm going to.
Yeah. Remember, I told you already. I told you this was going to happen. I told you it wasn't just about immigrants. I told you that this was going to inevitably go after American citizens as well. And a lot of people didn't realize this. Hopefully this is a fucking turning point. If you were confused about the process, if you genuinely thought that like ICE was there to like apprehend undocumented migrants or whatever, and not simply to do state repression, okay? At the behest of our fucking pedophilic, monstrous president, who was also simultaneously defending his pedophilic elite cabal buddies and himself from scrutiny from the Epstein files, okay? Not only that, but also defending the nation state of Israel every fucking step of the way, too. So just, remember that. Understand that. This has nothing to do with immigrants. The reason why The reason why they did this, the reason why they fucking did this is so that, the reason why they did this is so that you could justify it to yourselves by thinking, oh, the scary immigrants are doing this. Front page of Reddit is a thread posted by Epstein's calling him Nostradamus because he predicted this, since no one else could have even predicted something like this would happen. Yeah, just let him farm some fucking brownie points here so that people forget that he, procured CSAM from an underage girl. They bought everything. It's pathetic. Who cares? Yeah, he also actively came after me for calling this shit out for years, okay? So, remember that. For years and years and years, I've been talking about how if the Democrats don't actually take a strong oppositional voice against this anti-immigrant sentiment, it will eventually be weaponized against them. Okay? I did say that, and it did happen. We know, but so many don't get to see it because your W's never get posted in these places. Who cares? Fuck Reddit. What are you going to do? Put it on fucking TikTok. All of those people yelled at me over and over again. They said I was actually fucking, trying to get Donald Trump to win because I kept urging Kamala Harris to take an oppositional stance to the anti-immigrant sentiment. And not only that, but I also said that eventually, once this administration won, once the Trump administration won on this anti-immigrant sentiment, they would sic ICE in these neighborhoods. And once ICE was in these neighborhoods, I also said that people would start turning on ICE. People would start realizing that this was actually dangerous, that they didn't actually sign up for this. All of those things have happened. Okay? Just because other people on the internet are oblivious that these were my takes and people were yelling at me over these fucking takes for years and years does not change that reality. Okay? I said it over and over again. Nobody fucking listened. And unfortunately, those who could have potentially listened were too predisposed with drama, hearing everything that I was saying from a negative filter. But if you want to show others those takes, Nostradamus-style takes, you can do so. You can do it on TikTok.
Get you out. And that's when the shooting happened, and the car took off, and then it sped off and crashed right into the cars.
Can you talk about the agent that was stepped in front of the car?
The way he was in the clear. There was another one at the front part of the car on the driver's side, and there's one right there by the door that's opening, trying to get in the door. Then you have one that's in front of the car that was already coming from the side, and he was just getting clear because he already see that, hey, this person could take off, but maybe I'll try to intimidate you with my gun.
Can you make a stream banner every time a moment like this happens with if you want to see tomorrow's news today line? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. The Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by you, the viewers, for you, the viewers. If you want to see tomorrow's news today, you come to the Piker Broadcasting Service, PBS. Oh, Kaya. Oh my God. Kaya got groomed, chat. Here's a moment of, here's a little brief moment of happiness. Hey, come here. Kaya, come here. No, come here. Oh, you smell so much better. You were so smelly earlier. Sorry, I have to do this a little bit. I have to feel a little bit better when everything is fucking awful. Oh my God, you smell so good. My emotional support lapdog pushing me away. You guys can't hear her. She's kicking the ground right now because I'm scratching her back. Okay. All right, place. Oh my God. She just got groomed and she already has so much hair coming off of her. It's crazy. Okay, get down. This little lady has been shedding for like the past 2 months now. It's crazy. A little break from all the madness. A little Kaya break for you guys. Aren't we lucky to have dogs? The luckiest. Yeah. Victim has been identified from the Minnesota Star Tribune. ICE shooting victim identified as Renee Nicole Good, 37. Mother said her daughter is not part of anything like that at all, referring to protesters challenging ICE agents. Donna Ganger told the Minnesota Star Tribune that her daughter lived in the Twin Cities with her partner. Ganger declined to say whether she lived in Minneapolis. Is this the so-called Hamas that Americans like talking about? Yeah, I mean, everyone is Hamas, right? Anyone that opposes the government is Hamas, because Hamas is a catch-all term for recipient of appropriate violence. That's so stupid that she was killed, Ganger said. After learning some of the circumstances from a reporter, she was probably terrified. Ganger said her daughter is not a part of anything like that at all, referring to the protesters challenging ICE agents. Renee was one of the kindest people I've ever known. She said she was extremely compassionate. She's taken care of people all her life. She was loving, forgiving, and affectionate. She was an amazing human being. Just drove past ICE protesters in my conservative-ass state of Indiana. The average person will not fall for the propaganda. There will be some, but you need to understand. Look at what Connor said to Asman. Oh, my goat. What did he say? Yeah, R.I.P. Bozo. Convinced the CIA replace Asmongold with an even stupid trial stream meta. ICE does not equal police dipshit. Snap out of this moronic grifting shit. Elon, if you read this, go heavier on the ketamine later. It makes it work better. Not cool showing close-ups? What are you talking about? Stop posting the faces of ICE agents. You are putting their lives in danger. You're fucking joking, right? This is a joke, right? I'm a fellow roach. I come in peace, just sniffing and crawling around sus. What? Where was the close-up of the ICE agent that I was showing the face of? I'm not going to ban that person, but... Oh, this one you mean? Are you talking about this one? This guy who fucking shot 37-year-old victim? Is that what you're talking about? The guy? Is that who you're referencing? Not only is he a public servant, but he's also a murderer. You know? One must ask the question why you are trying to defend a murderer here, you know? A cold-blooded murderer. We saw him do it. This part of the footage is from the same video that shows him murdering a woman in broad daylight. That's crazy. That's crazy that your first reaction to this is to be like, dude, you're putting these guys' lives in danger. What do you mean? Your life is in danger if you're ever around one of these fucking masked thugs of the state, dude. The hell? Who do you think is more dangerous? Random 37-year-old mom of a 6-year-old? Or guy who fucking murdered her? This is what Asman just said on stream. He can suck my dick. Regardless of who is driving the vehicle is dangerous of operated recklessly. Yeah, the vehicle actually became dangerous because this fucking dipshit shot the person operating the vehicle. Okay? You just know, Nadnaps, you are not a cop, for the record. You're not an ICE agent. You are more likely to be in a vehicle surrounded by cops than be the cop that you're fantasizing in this situation where you just like get a fucking what you consider to be a legal kill, you know? It's very sad and very pathetic for you to deep throat this fucking hard, you know? I do want to understand like where this mentality comes from though, you know? I genuinely cannot comprehend like this surf brain. I don't know. I don't understand it. We gave a gun to a bunch of guys who watched a recruitment ad during a football game and signed up for a 47-day orientation. Please react very calmly when they're shouting at you because they might get scared and start shooting off under pressure. They are saving our America. That's basically what it is. And these guys still see themselves in the shoes of the fucking ICE agent for some reason. He watches Asman, so he gets it from there. Pretty easy to explain. Yeah, but there's no point where you realize that like you are being propagandized so heavily. Like this is unironically causing you to develop peasant brain rot. You are behaving like a fucking serf. You are behaving not like a human being. You are advocating against your best interests here. I believe in you, chatter. I believe in you. I think you do have the capacity to see right from wrong in this situation. I think there is a moment here where you can fucking say, yeah, no, this was like straight up murder, you know? Yeah. Yeah, they get 47 days of training, dude. This is all the training ICE officers get before a government hands them weapons and tells them to go raise hell. 47 days. Academy training was shortened to 47 days. 3 officials told me the number picked because Trump is the 47th president. The HS officials said the training will run 6 days a week for 8 weeks. It's fucking insane. We gave them weapons, no training whatsoever, and we sicked them on our fucking streets, and they're unaccountable. And it seems like there are still some people who will defend them when they're murdering people in fucking broad daylight, dude. That is crazy. That is madness to me. Anyway, here, let's hear the witness talk about this.
And I'd heard horns pass through before as people follow ICE vehicles through the city, but they stayed. They kept going, and so I figured whatever was happening right outside. So I started watching through the window, and there was a red Honda Pilot, maroon. There were 2 people in fatigues, ICE agents, presumably. One was by the passenger side of the vehicle, one was by the driver's side of the vehicle. And there was a handful of black and white SUVs, license plates on some of them, front license plates removed, parked sort of kittywampus in the street. And I watched as a third person in full camo come and pull several times on the door handle, at which point the red vehicle reversed a few feet and started driving around. And the person who was by the driver's side originally, not the man who pulled on the door, but who was originally there, shot through the driver's side window 3 times, and the car drove down the street a little bit more and then swerved into a car and then ultimately a telephone pole.
Okay. I think that's really all, because I'm not trying to get you to comment on that. You just saw this. Did you see an ambulance come? Did you?
An ambulance came a few minutes later. There was some delay getting the ambulance to the vehicle because of the number of ICE vehicles in the street, and sort of they slowly moved their SUVs and trucks out of the way. Somebody wearing a camo and a vest that just said police, I think they're ICE, but no identification, grabbed an orange sort of OtterBox style case and ran up to the vehicle, and they pulled the person out and onto the boulevard before the ambulance got there.
When you saw it happen, was that vehicle still moving? Was it at all going towards an agent at that point? Or?
So the agents had been on either side, so they just backed up a few feet and then drove forward again. Somebody else said that the vehicle had been stuck in the snow a little bit. So they weren't driving at a person with any intention of hitting them. They were driving between.
Good enough for me.
Hi, I'm Diana Macedo. Let's get right to breaking news. The U.S. military says it has now seized a second Venezuela-linked ship in international waters. U.S. Southern Command.
Hold on. I'm not going to get into this yet. There's more that I want to cover on this. But first, we'll get to the 5. The demons over at the Fox and 5 talk about this issue. For people saying self-defense, how does shooting the driver of a car you're supposedly in front of you defend you? Sounds like it would make sure they hit you if they were dead. Exactly. That's why they shot him. This was the video shared with the HuffPost about the doctor that they stopped from actually entering. Federal agents blocked a man identifying himself as a doctor from reaching the woman killed by ICE in Minneapolis. A video shared with HuffPost shows. This is censored as well, so we can look at it. Back up! There's literally a fucking doctor that comes in and says, I'm a doctor, let me check her pulse.
Can I go check a pulse? No! Back up! Now! I'm a physician!
Hey, listen, we understand. We got EMS coming, and I get it. Just give us a second. We have medics on scene. We have our own medics.
Where are they? Medics. Where are they? How can I relax? You just killed my neighbor! You caught butter in the face! You killed my neighbor! How do you show up to work every day? How the do you do this every day? You're killing my neighbors. You're stealing my neighbors. What the man?
This exact situation has happened so many damn times that there's a case president up the wazoo for it. They're currently discussing it heavily in all the law spaces everywhere because it's an open and shut case. It's just, not only is it unjustifiable, but it is transparently illegal. We'll see what happens, I think, with this administration, if they can find a favorable biased judge or something to put it in front of. But I don't see this. I mean, this is so indefensible, which is, of course, the reason why you see all of the dumbest motherfuckers, all the dumbest mouth-breathing losers try to defend it. It's like the Derek Chauvin shit. I know it's been many years at this point, so the bias has kicked in, but instantly after the Derek Chauvin situation, the George Floyd situation, there were even a lot of cops that said this was completely unacceptable. Matt Walsh actually literally, and Ben Shapiro said it's totally righteous for this person to go to jail. I remember. Now, of course, years after the fact, they do propaganda as though they didn't fucking say that, but they did at the time. The majority of Americans were in favor of the Minneapolis Police Department burning down in the immediate aftermath of the George Floyd murder. If you want to understand the media environment and just the overall sentiment in that moment, I know a lot of people look back at that and go, oh, shit went real crazy. shit went real fucking crazy. I don't know how we let woke get out of control or whatever, but at the time, there was a poll that was conducted in the aftermath when they burned down the fucking Minneapolis Police Department, and the majority of Americans actually were in favor of it. Okay? No one took Derek Chauvin's side. Understandable that no one took Derek Chauvin's side. It was fucking unjustifiable. And this is another one of those moments where it will be a heel turn. It will be a tide shift. People will see it for exactly what it is. Who knows what they'll say 2 years down the line? But for the time being, in the immediate aftermath of a very naked act of aggression and atrocity such as this one, people are not going to defend it. Only the dumbest motherfuckers will defend it. Dumb motherfuckers like this one. Yeah, R.I.P. Bozo. They told her to get out of the car, and then she put it in reverse and tried to run over an officer and drive away. Comply with police and don't run them over. This angle shows it better. So, of course, the MAGA cult farmer try and justify it to an audience of powerless people who only feel strong when they identify with the admin doing this cruelty. Pathetic. Expected. Anyway, agree but never fight. We need to actually fight back, but they no apparatus for us to self-defend. What are you talking about? People are already fucking fighting back. Yeah. 54% of Americans think burning down Minneapolis police precinct was justified after George Floyd's death. Okay, I'm telling you right now, people are going to see this, and they already are, and they're going to recognize that this was a 37-year-old woman in a fucking Honda Pilot getting shot in broad daylight by a fucking psychopathic ICE agent that shouldn't have been there to begin with, that shouldn't have behaved like that to begin with, at a time when, like, the ICE's unpopularity is at its peak, 47 days of training. It's just it's a powder keg waiting to fucking explode. And then they turned around and denied care to the victim. They stopped a doctor that was there. It's a meme. What is a meme? I'm confused. What? The right-wing media ecosystem. Asmongold is literally talking about killing more people in Minnesota by using the Insurrection Act right now. This motherfucker is insane.